Capcom dusting off Onimusha after all these years initially felt like the developer was banking on nostalgia to pad out their upcoming release schedule. But I should say that after I spent 30 minutes watching some guided gameplay of Onimusha Way of the Sword, it was made pretty clear that Musashi's return is being treated with respect for the series, as Capcom seems to be remixing the classic action with modern combat nuances. I should say that the gameplay that you're seeing is based off the most recent trailer, and what I'm telling to you now was explained to us during our behind closed doors presentation, so please enjoy.
Musashi! We both want the same thing, Musashi. But there's only room for one at the top. And it won't be a coward who runs from jewels. Words never did work between us, did they? Sasaki Ganyu.
The Onimusha Way of the Sword demo unfolded on the weather-worn terraces of Kiyomizu-dera Temple. Beautiful blossoms drifted across the screen, then splattered crimson when Musashi cleaved through a group of yokai. Each swing still coughs up those color-coded souls veterans know by heart: blue for power, yellow for health, and red for experience. Seeing them evaporate after a few seconds adds that old Onimusha push and pull. Do you risk a stray arrow to snag loot, or finish the skirmish first? The director made sure to point out that timing is everything, and the footage supported his claim. I was impressed by how they incorporated a system that isn't often seen in action games, with post-fight rewards typically being automatically absorbed instead of the player having to slow down to pick them up. What really caught my eye is how defense now feels as aggressive as offense. Musashi can guard from any direction, but if you turtle too long, the stance will crack. The redirect system turns parrying into slapstick murder. For example, deflecting a spear and guiding the poor fool into a wall torch to watch him ignite. A separate input handles range deflections, and here the payoff is bigger, where each reflected arrow shaves a chunk of an enemy's second gauge, setting them up for a stagger that begs for an Issen finisher. Speaking of Issens, the team is leaning hard into a razor-thin window. Land one and the camera snaps close so you can practically smell the sparks. But that could have been because I was watching this played on a large screen in a theater. Chain Issens looked vicious, back-to-back critical slashes that thin a mob faster than Musashi can finish his war cry. The person playing the demo managed to pull off a triple chain, and I realized Capcom might have found a sweet spot between spectacle and the skill ceiling. Absorbing enough blocked hits kicks Musashi into a powered-up state. It's here that each slash will spit out extra blue souls, feeding right into the flashy skills. The sample skill we were able to witness was a thin blade dance that carved enemies into confetti and showered the arena with yellow souls for mid-fight healing. It was stylish, but more importantly it fits the series' loop of risk, reward, and resource. Way of the Sword also sneaks in some light exploration, where Oni visions let Musashi peel back reality and spot invisible Gemma clogging up choke points, then taking them out to reveal hidden paths. You can find dark mass fragments that act as grisly memory echoes, where you absorb one and watch the doomed last moments of fallen warriors. These narrative crumbs feel like Capcom's answer to fans who've been asking for deeper world building since Dawn of Dreams. The hands-off presentation capped off with a boss fight against Sasuke Ganryu, a towering swordsman whose second gauge melted under well-timed deflects. One stagger to break Issen let the dev choose which body part to target for extra damage. A tease actually followed this fight where Byaku, which is a horned brute wreathed in mist, appeared for a blink and you miss it standoff before the feed cut to the logo. This is kind of all classic Capcom cliffhanger tactics, but it worked. The room seemed eager to continue watching, and so did I. As someone who first learned about the word Issen while blitzing through the original 2001 Onimusha on PS2, I left the theater confident Way of the Sword understands what made the franchise tick. The fundamentals, precise timing, risk-reward soul grabs, chunky swordplay, are intact, while new defensive layers promise depth that should stand up in 2026 action-heavy landscape. It's still very early, and this was a work-in-progress build, but if Capcom can stick the landing, Musashi's new pilgrimage might slice out a space of its own rather than simply trade on faded glory. I'm ready to meet him on the battlefield, controller in hand, when Capcom is ready to share more. But for now, Onimusha Way of the Sword is coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC in 2026. Thanks for watching. This video is brought to you by our supporters on Patreon. Noisy Pixels is run by a group of gamers providing independent gaming coverage through news, reviews, previews, and more. Check out our Patreon to help support our continued growth, and subscribe to keep up with all our future content.
Noisy Pixel.